Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel Say What's Real TV. This review is for Tyler Perry's Zatima Season 2 Episode 17, Energy Shift. So we open up the episode with Fatima making a phone call to Paul. And of course, he's surprised she's calling, but excited all at the same time. And he can tell something's wrong with her and ask her, do she want to talk about it? She tells him no, because then he's going to think that she's using him. And quiet as it's kept, Fatima, you are. He's like, well, you called me, so what's up? She says that she wanted to go for a run, and that's how she clears her head out and wanted to know, would he mind going with her? He said, what, to be your little bodyguard? She said, no, I just need a friend. And he says, well, I'm not much of a runner, but I can bring my bike. And she gave the location where she would be at. And he said, no, I'll just put my bike on the back of my truck and I'll come get you because it's too late for you to be out there. I'm like, okay, that's what's up. But the whole thing with Fatima even calling Paul, I kind of have a problem with it because I felt like Paul gave you your space. The last time you saw him, you basically kicked him out the house, and he said he'll leave you alone, but keep his number. But I didn't think he meant like keep my number to continue to call me with your mind still on Zach. And your mind is very much still on Zach. So why did you call Paul knowing how he feels about you and just stirring up the pot all over again? So as Fatima hangs the phone up with Paul, here comes Angela barging in the squeaky door of hers, not even knocking. I mean, I know it's your house, Angela, but you need to knock, hun. So she comes in already asking questions like, who is that? Like, girl, Angela, you do not need to know every single thing that's going on, okay? So Fatima, of course, she ends up telling her it was Paul and that they got plans to go running. So Angela wants to know why she didn't ask her to go on the walk. And Fatima looking at her like, I guess after the last time they tried to do it, she was walking slow and they ended up at somebody's bar. So anyway, Fatima told her she looked really good. She looked nice. Where was she going? I mean, when you look at Angela, you'd have thought she was just ready for bed. It just looked like she had on a nice gown with the robe. To me, I mean, it was cute and stuff. It was nice, but I thought she was getting ready to go to bed. So she asked Fatima, oh, it doesn't look too desperate, does it? She said, oh, no, it's perfect. Angela gets up talking about, oh, well, let me go change. It was given Celia and Mr. in the color purple when he asked her to choose between two items he had. I don't know if it was ties or suit jackets, but whichever one she chose, Mr. chose the opposite, as if to say, I don't trust your judgment. So Fatima was like, what the hell? Like, why you changing? She said, girl, I'm not trying to look cute. I'm trying to get laid, so I need to be looking irresistible. So after changing into something a lot more revealing, Angela comes downstairs and asks Fatima, is she leaving because she's having company? Fatima was like, well, how long is your company going to be here? And she tells her that depends on him and how long he's going to last. So Fatima says she's just going to go for her run, come back, take a shower, whatever, and go to bed. And then they bring up Zach, and Fatima was like, it's just a lot right now. So Angela apologized to Fatima for what she was going through, and then her doorbell rang, and she apologized again like, sorry, girl, my Peter is here. So she sashayed her tail to the door, and in walks Sam. So he speaks to Fatima and looks at Angela like, damn, girl, you looking good. You got something to drink? She was like, yeah, I got something to drink, and I got something to smoke too, but it's upstairs. Sam is like, that's what's up. So Angela was like, well, let's go on and get to it. She told Fatima, girl, all right, I'll holler at you, toodles, and proceeded to go upstairs for her and Sam to handle their business. So we go over there to the hospital where we see Zach and Connie, and they're greeted by the doctor. So Zach is asking her, like, what happened? We find out that Miss Gladys OD'd on fentanyl, and the doctor was like, it's not looking good. Jeremiah got her there just in time, but she's not hopeful that Miss Gladys will gain consciousness. So Zach asks the doctor, can he go back and see his mom? And she tells him that they're working on her and she'll let him know when he's able to go back, but it might not be pleasant for him to see. So the doctor leaves and Zach is extremely emotional, as he should be, and Connie is trying to comfort him as much as she can. And then here comes Jeremiah high as a kite asking Zach, what is he looking at? Like, he keeps looking at me. And Zach says, what happened? What happened? Jeremiah told him, you just talked to the doctor. Zach said, what did you do? You know what I'm talking about. Jeremiah said, what do you mean, what did I do? You the one that gave her $500. You know you weren't supposed to give mama no money. So Zach was like, I know you're not trying to blame this on me. Like, you the one was over there smoking with her. She was with you. So Jeremiah was like, look, I'm not a babysitter. I tried to bring her by you, but no, you was too busy about that little bee that you got, talking about Fatima. And Zach was like, what you said? He said, yeah, you was too concerned about that bee. And why did he say that? Zach went to charging at him, damn near threw his back out trying to get Jeremiah on the ground, and he just started wailing on his head for every disrespectful remark he ever said about Fatima. Poor little Connie, she trying to get Zach up off of him as Jeremiah lay there all balled up, wishing it would come to an end. So Connie, she finally gets the two of them apart, and the nurse comes running from out of nowhere, but Connie reassures her that everything is fine, everything is okay. Zach standing behind Connie like she really, really can hold him back. And he's pointing his finger at Jeremiah like, I hate you, I swear to God, I hate you. So Connie, she becomes a mediator between the two of them, telling both of them to sit their behind down somewhere. Jeremiah saying that he'll do something to Zach if he wasn't his brother. Zach over there talking about how high Jeremiah is. So Connie has to tell both of them, look, y'all out here acting like true ninjas, showing your behind, scaring all the people in the waiting area, while your mama in there fighting for her life, basically trying to tell them they need to get it together. So Zach still screaming over and over that Jeremiah is high. Jeremiah over there rocking back and forth talking about where's the doctor, what's taking so long, what did the doctor say again? Connie tells him, the doctor says stop scratching your balls. That's just nasty. So Zach tells him, just go get high. You can't take it. Jeremiah say, I'm here for mama, but you wouldn't know nothing about that because you ain't been around. So we get the scene with Fatima and Paul, and they're on the swings, just chopping it up, kicking the bobo. So of course, Zach's name comes up, and Paul tells Fatima that he saw Zach earlier at work. So Paul decided to ask Fatima, what would you do if Zach came to you, showed you his heart, and apologized? Would you take him back? Now, mind you, when he spoke to Zach earlier, he called himself giving Zach some advice and told Zach that Fatima wanted to see his heart. She wanted to see him raw. She wanted him to apologize. And he said those things as if Fatima had already conveyed that to him in conversation before. And apparently not, because now he's asking her, what would she do if he did those things? And she said, well, he has shown me his heart. And Paul said, well, I don't mean in passion. I mean when he's sitting around doing nothing. So Fatima claims that Zach has done it like twice. And she says, well, you got to understand because he's had a rough upbringing. So then she says, I'm not really trying to make excuses for him, but I feel like Fatima, you are, because every time you guys try to say that, it's like saying, oh, he can be hugged all up with whoever he wants to because of how his mama treated him as a child. And as a grown adult, 35, 40 years old, that's just not going to fly with me. But anyway, Fatima says she doesn't want to talk about Zach anymore. She just wants to clear her mind. So Paul, he starts giving Fatima all the little googly eyes and telling her, I just want you so effing bad right now. So Fatima tells him, look, Paul, I didn't come here for all of that. I just wanted a friend. Paul is like, yeah, I know, a friend. You just want to use me again. And I'm like, see, Fatima, this is what I was talking about when in the beginning of the episode, when you called him, I said, why did you call Paul? Knowing doggone well what he really wants. So Fatima tells him, see, that's why I don't want to call you, because I don't want you saying stuff like that. And Paul tells her, well, I don't want you to call me no more. Like, I'll be all right if you don't call me. And she was like, well, fine, we can go. Same situation as in the bedroom. Same little thing. So Paul tells her, long as you know there's not going to ever be a time where when you call, I don't pick up. And she's like, well, why is that? He says, because that could be the one time that you are willing to give us a chance. Like, Paul, I'm ready. Let's do this type thing. So Fatima, she basically shut all that down and told him to his face that would never happen. So Paul tells her, hey, a man got to keep hope alive. So I guess Paul going to continue to wait for that phone call when she's ready to be with him. So Fatima tells him she knows doggone well he got plenty females he can be going out on dates with. And he says, what, and use them the way you do me? She said, what is that, karma? So then Paul decides to go into this whole spiel where he tells her just how obsessed he is with her, and actually says, I've had sex with you at least 12 times in my head. Now, after someone says, I'm just here to clear my mind, just get my mind right, don't bother to wait on that phone call because I'm not calling you to be with you, why would you then turn around and tell her that you're hunching her like 12 different times in your head? Like, for me, that probably would have turned me off a little bit. So Paul goes into this whole thing where he tells her that he's tried to date someone else and that every time he looked at her, he would think of Fatima, and that he's even called her Fatima's name. So listening to what Paul is actually saying, and from some of the dialogue from other episodes, it suggests to me that more time has passed in this entire breakup off camera than what we, the audience, may think. Now, in our head, this has only been going on for a couple of days, but if you listen to certain things that some of them are saying, it's been longer than what we think. So Paul, he continues to tell Fatima just how he fantasizes about everything about her. So Fatima tells him, you're supposed to be my friend. And Paul says, I am a friend, a damn good friend, but hey, I'm also a man. So then Fatima tells him, look, I'm sorry, I don't want you to feel like that. Paul was like, yeah, but you just want to keep me close just in case, right? So then she asked Paul, why is he so complicated? Like, you ask all the right questions, you say all the right things, but you're exhausting. And she was like, look, I just want to go home and take a shower. So Paul took that and ran with it and was like, oh, so now you got me thinking about, you in the shower, seeing you naked. Like, that to me is such a turnoff. Like, every little thing she say and does, now he's gonna come up with some kind of sexual type innuendo type thing. And that's just annoying to me. And he was like, I need to go take me a cold shower. And she was like, yeah, you do. So they end up leaving. So again, just like I said in the beginning of the video, Fatima, why are you calling Paul? He gave you a way out. He gave you your space. So there's no reason to call Paul when you already know Paul does not want to be your friend. You keep screaming, you're supposed to be my friend, when you told Paul in the elevator, Fatima, off top, you don't want to be my friend when he asked you for your phone number the first time. So you already knew going in, Paul didn't want to be your friend. Paul didn't even know you and said, I don't want to talk to nobody but you. He didn't even know you. So that was like a red flag, but we ain't going to go back to that. But my thing is, Paul is getting more and more open about how he feels. He's getting more vulgar with it. Like, oh, I'm hunching you in my head 12 times. I'm thinking about your ass, your face, your body, your hips. I want to see you naked in the shower. Period, point blank. Paul is telling you what time it is, and you're telling him you're supposed to be my friend. Girl, don't call Paul again. Do not call Paul unless you're getting ready to hunch Paul and you ready to move forward with Paul. Just don't do it. So we go over there to Belinda's house, and Nate is propped up on the sofa like he lives there. And I'm like, well, how did he even get in there? So she comes in and she was like, what are you doing here? He said, you told me to come here. She was like, yeah, about 3 hours ago. Nate was like, look, I was busy, but now I'm here. What's up? She said, yeah, busy with that bee. Look, I could smell her all over you. And Nate was like, ma'am, we're not together. We're not even dating. So Belinda told Nate that it was real messed up how he went back and told everybody that she was the one that created the fake profile. And he said, well, you did do it. So she was like, oh, so you act like you ain't have nothing to do with it after all the stuff you done went and told Lori? And I'm like, well, Nate, how does Belinda know what your conversations were with your wife about Zach and Fatima? Like, make that make sense. Nate is just trash to me. So all of a sudden now he's this advocate for Zatima, trying to take up for Zach and Fatima, asking her like why she want them to break up so bad. Like, what is her angle with all of that? And Belinda is over there like, I just don't like Zach. I don't like him. He's a hoe. And I'm like, girl, you're sitting in front of one of the biggest hoes. He's a whole married hoe. But you have nothing to say about that. And yes, you do like Zach. You're actually obsessed with Zach. He hit it one time and you can't get him off the brain. Like, girl, get it together. Get it together. So all of a sudden he's saying Zach is about Fatima and Fatima is about Zach. He was wrong, she was wrong, and that she needs to drop it. Belinda says she's not going to drop a thing. Like, why not, Belinda? Why not? I don't get it. So it finally clicks in Nate's head that Belinda really does like Zach from that little one-night stand they had, but he said he gets it. And Belinda says she's still not dropping it, and she told him he need to leave. Nate said, look, I'm not leaving. You know you don't want me to leave, and we're just having a conversation. And he said, what's up? And she was like, well, maybe after you're done, you can leave. He said, well, since this is going to be the last time, I'm going to make it count. And I said to myself, you making it count, Belinda will probably end up pregnant. I will not be surprised. But the wild thing about that, Nate, is you just realize how obsessed this girl is with your best friend, and you still want to hit it. Trash. Just trash. So we go over there to Angela's house, and Fatima got on her headphones. She can't sleep. She's annoyed. Angela and Sam down there making all kind of noise like they in the Wild Wild West at some rodeo. So Fatima's like, what the hell? Is that a horse? So she's like, she'll have sex with a horse, but she won't have sex with Bryce. So we go back over there to the hospital where Jeremiah's sitting there rocking back and forth, scratching and itching and scratching, talking about what's taking the doctor so long. So Zach keeps bringing up the fact that Jeremiah just want to go get high. And Jeremiah is telling him, look, you was never there like I was. All you want to do is pull up in your nice stuff. You wasn't there in the trenches dealing with all these embarrassing moments, dealing with mama falling down the stairs and this and that. So Zach told him, look, I don't want to hear none of that. You win. You win the most effed up life sweepstakes. Thank you for helping me and mama. Thanks for keeping me in jail. And thanks for keeping mama high as a kite, just like you. So Jeremiah seemed to be unbothered by all of that, what Zach was talking about. And now he's looking for the bathroom. And Zach wants him to own that he is just going to get high. Jeremiah told him, look, that's my effing business. And now Zach is mad because he feels like you can't stay sober 10 minutes while your mama laying in there dying. Jeremiah didn't give a damn. Now he pretending like he gonna go look for a doctor while Zach's sitting there repeating the same thing over and over. Just own it. Just own it. Just say you're going to get high. And I guess in Jeremiah's mind, it's like what's understood don't need to be explained. So we go back over there to Angela's house, and I guess Fatima couldn't sleep from all the rodeo action, so she put some clothes on and she's coming downstairs, and Sam is in the kitchen butt booty naked. So Fatima, she's covering her eyes, she's embarrassed, Sam is embarrassed. He's trying to hurry up and get past her, like, you mind if I, squeeze past you so he can go back up the steps. So then Angela, she comes down there, and Fatima was like, well, what the hell? And Angela tells her, like, girl, what? He needed a water break. And, Fatima let her know, like, girl, I can see how you're having so much fun, because I guess he's obviously hung like a horse. But anyway, she says she was up there enjoying herself. And Fatima says that she's going for a drive. So Angela was like, well, where are you going? So she admitted that she's thinking about going to Zach's house, but, she's kind of confused about it, but really she's not. And Angela told her she was glad that she was going to see Zach. So we go back over there to the hospital, and we see Connie make a phone call to Tony. And she basically tells him about Miss Gladys and how she OD'd and how Zach and Jeremiah are around there fighting like animals in the hospital, and she can barely keep them from fighting, and she needs him to come down there. She also told him to call Nate. And Tony was like, Zach does not want to see Nate. He doesn't want to see him right now. Connie insisted, and he agreed that he would go ahead and call Nate. So Tony, he does just that. He calls Nate. Mind you, Nate is still over there at Belinda's house. We get over there, they butt booty naked on the sofa, and he putting in work. They got pictures falling all off the wall, so they over there doing the thing. And I'm sure without a condom. So he sees the phone ringing, and he actually answers the phone. Belinda, she's telling him, like, what you doing? That better not be no B. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole married man over here, and you keep talking about it better not be a B, like you are not his wife. Oh, these two are super trash. You hear me? So anyway, so Nate answers, and he tells Tony, what's up? This better be good, because of course he interrupted their little sex session. And Tony says, look, Zach is in the hospital because his mom OD'd. And Connie called me, and she wants us to come down there. So Nate, he's putting on his clothes, and he was like, look, text me when you get there so I'll know where you are. So Belinda asks Nate what was wrong with him, and he tells her that Zach's mom is in the hospital. She overdosed. And Belinda act like she's so shocked and concerned, like, oh my, his mom? And she was like, oh, well, look, I'm getting ready to go with you. And he was like, why? And she says, because I want to be there for you. He tells her, I don't even know you like that. And this just after he just got through pulling up out of behind, but whatever. So they go back and forth debating because Belinda says she going and Nate says she's not. But guess what? Belinda ended up going anyway. And not only that, she took him there. Because my thing is, how did you even get to Belinda's house in the first place for you to try to make it seem like you needed a ride to the hospital? I'm confused at that. Nate, you need to be cut off, bruh. So we go back to the hospital. Zach comes back from looking for Jeremiah, and Connie tells him, you know your brother's been jealous of you since you guys were little. And Zach wants to know how is that because his life is shitty. Connie says, well, look at his life and look at your mom's life. Like you should be grateful that, your life is not like theirs. You get out of jail, you land on your feet, and you've been on the up and up ever since. Zach was like, his mom is going to blame him and everything is always his fault, but he don't care anymore. So then Connie had to try to reassure Zach that, it was not his fault and that she knows that he does still care. So Connie tells him, look, Zach, I got to get back to my kids because I got to take them to school in the morning. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even know Connie had kids. So Zach, he gives Connie his car keys and tell her to take his car. So she asked him, is he sure? And he was like, yeah, and just do me a favor and stop by my house and check on it for me because I know I left the door open. He tells her that he appreciated her, and she said, I know I got you, and they give each other the biggest hug. And I'm like, even though we don't like Connie like that, shout out to Connie for being the voice of reason between Jeremiah and Zach and being there to support the both of them in their time of need dealing with their mom. So once Connie leaves, Zach is very emotional, mumbling to himself like, come on, Gladys, wanting his mom to pull through so bad. And it's always interesting to me when you find someone that has been treated a certain kind of way all their life by someone and they feel like they've been hurt by that person and they still have all this love for the person to where they don't want anything to happen to that person. They want the best for the person still. Zach still very much so loves his mom no matter what has happened in the past. And as he should. That's his mom, and you only get one mom. It kind of reminds me of Keisha Cole with her mom, Frankie. And we all know how that turned out, and Keisha loved her mother all the way to the end. So we go over there to Zach's house where we see Fatima sitting in the car trying to talk herself out of going up to Zach's door, and she's getting ready to pull off when Deja pulls up with some little dude in the car. So he runs up in the house all quick. I don't know how he got in there without the key, but whatever. So Fatima got her camera out because Deja doesn't have the neck brace on. So Fatima basically was like, gotcha, bitch. So Deja's trying to act like she's hurting, grabbing her neck. And Fatima was like, girl, it's too late. And you need to drop that lawsuit because I got all the evidence I need. Deja said, I'm not dropping nothing. I'm still suing your little country ass. So Fatima brings up that she's going to have Madam come pay her a visit, and Deja didn't give a damn. Deja was like, why you got to bring Madam into this? Like, do what you got to do, boo. So Deja tells Fatima, look, what you need to be doing instead of worrying about me is checking your man. I saw him leave here about an hour ago with some big titty bee with green hair. I think he called her Connie. Like, does that sound familiar? And they was all hugged up and everything. I'm like, Deja, now you lying with that. She say, I got pictures and all. You want to see? And Fatima was like, yeah, let me see. Of course she wants to see. Deja always got receipts, right? So Deja whips out the phone, letting her see the pictures. And she was like, is that your man or no? Is that your ninja or no? Fatima was like, I got it. As Fatima is walking off, going back to her car, here comes Connie out of Zach's house. Now, clearly, we saw that nobody was at Zach's house when Fatima was just sitting in the car watching the house the whole time. So how Connie came there, backed in, went in the house, and now already coming out the house is beyond me. But I guess we'll just let it slide. So Fatima was like, what the hell? And Deja in the back telling me something, is that your blouse? And the episode ends there. Ooh, child, it was way too much going on in this episode. Drop down in the comments so we can talk about it. Let me know what your thoughts were. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on episode 18. Peace.